Parents rejected their daughter's boyfriend. 10 years later, they regret their decision. Parents always want the very best for their children. However, sometimes their good intentions aren't always helpful. Sometimes your parents can actually hurt you the most when you reject or disapprove of your life choices. When one girl brought her boyfriend home to meet her parents, she thought that things were going to be great. However, once her parents learned what he did for a living, they completely disapproved. Later, they regret their decision when the tables were turned. Michael is a construction worker and has been for some time. Although he was in school studying for other things, eventually Michael decided to drop his studies. He decided to follow in his father's footsteps for one big reason. You see, Michael's father didn't have enough money to cover his son's college tuition and fees. This put Michael in a hard position, and he soon realized that he couldn't afford to keep going to school. So instead, he decided to just begin working in construction. At the time, Michael was dating a woman named Irene. When Irene found out that Michael was dropping out of school, she was absolutely furious with him. She refused to stay with the man that she deemed would be uneducated, and so she broke up with him. Michael was absolutely brokenhearted when Irene ended things with him. After all, she had been his first love, and he had never dealt with such a bad heartache. It took him quite a long time to get over the situation. Michael decided that the best way to get over the breakup would be to keep busy. So Michael focused on his work and began to slowly forget about Irene. Then one day he met a girl named Judy. Soon enough, Michael and Judy began to date. The two began to fall in love, and Michael was incredibly happy with the way things were going. The two had begun to date for the next 2 years, and it was a great relationship. Finally, after 2 years of dating, Judy thought it was time for Michael and her parents to meet. She was very excited to introduce everybody. However, she had no idea how badly things would turn out. Unfortunately, Judy's parents did not approve of the relationship. They didn't like the fact that Michael was a construction worker and that he didn't have any education. In fact, they even told Michael that he wouldn't have much of a future if he continued to work as a construction worker. Judy was absolutely devastated about how everything had played out. She knew that her parents' approval was very important to her, so she felt like she had no choice. The young woman knew that she couldn't stay with Michael anymore. So Judy told Michael that they could no longer see each other because of his job choice. He couldn't believe that he had found himself in the same situation again. For a while, Michael felt completely hopeless. However, he kept working to try and take his mind off things. Then, one day, one of his friends brought up a suggestion to Michael. His friend suggested that Michael move to Australia, where the pay is higher than in Taiwan. Michael decided to consider this idea. So Michael decided to move all the way to Australia in order to get a higher salary. At first, the move was quite hard for himself since there was a pretty big language barrier. However, Michael refused to give up and continued to work hard each day. Year after year, Michael worked hard in Australia. After 5 years, he had saved up enough money to head back to Taiwan. He wanted to go back to his home country to become a contractor and start up his own construction company. Eventually, Michael was able to start up his own construction company in Taiwan. Over some time, he became a highly successful contractor and owned several high-profile real estates across the country. He was proud of how far he had come from all those years. However, soon the past would come back to haunt him. One day, Michael had heard some news about his first love, Irene. It seems that Irene had just gotten divorced after her husband cheated on her when he was away in China for a work trip. After the divorce, the ex-husband took their 5-year-old son and fled the country. However, Irene wasn't the only one dealing with hardships in life. One day, Michael also found out news about his other ex-girlfriend, Judy. It seems that Judy was in her 40s and still single to this day. Michael was surprised to find that Judy was still single. However, it seems that her parents continued to find fault with every man she had brought home. After some time, she realized that there was no one that was going to be good enough for her parents to approve of. Michael genuinely felt sorry for both his past lovers. He didn't want them to be unhappy. However, he knew that there was nothing he could do now. Both of them had made their choices once long ago. Before his business went big, Michael fell in love with a wonderful woman named Susan. Susan had been there for him throughout it all, and now they were both reaping the benefits of their commitment to one another. Michael was truly grateful that he had met someone that loved him for who he was. Michael's story serves as a valuable lesson for many parents out there. Although many parents only want the best for their children, it is often better to allow them to make their own choices. Otherwise, you could end up unintentionally making their lives harder.